How about sports, Pete? Let me take a wild guess. Do my Karnak.
It's pretty tough to figure out what's happening tonight, right?
Something up in Lambeau Field. What would it be? What would it be? The NFL draft.
You know, John, and this does tie into the financials as well as just having fun with sports, but they're expecting about $100 million to come into the city of Green Bay because of what's going on over the next couple of days. It's not just tonight. This goes on for a few days, but this will be a big one. I think people are as excited as they've ever been about this. Anybody who's been in social media, you've been able to see what it looks like and how the setup is for everybody, the media, as well as the players and the fans and everything else. I think it's going to be as it always is, John. They just crush it every single year. They do a great job. That's something the NFL is. Let's be honest. The NFL does everything better than the rest of the major sports, right? I mean, it doesn't matter where you want to go. Do you want to go to the draft? We all know exactly who some of those big players are, some of the very best. Every once in a while, there's a sleeper in there or so, which is always a lot of fun. But they just do a magical job of how they get through it, which is why the ratings are absolutely ridiculous for something that's a draft. It's not a game. It's not the Super Bowl. It's just the draft. But when I look at it, John, I thought it would be kind of fun for a lot of people just to understand that there are some players in here in the top 5 or 6. And I think when you go in the draft, you don't draft people, if you're an NFL GM, you don't draft them for what they are. You draft them for the talent that they've got. So here's who is considered the top 5 or 6 in talent in the draft. Abdul Carter, that outside rusher from Penn State, he's number 1, John. Nobody's even close. He's up there at 1, and then all of a sudden you got to come all the way down to number 2, Travis Hunter, who is kind of like Shohei Ohtani, right? A little bit. I mean, he can do it all. He's not a baseball player. He's not pitching and he's not batting, but this guy can play on both sides of the ball. He's a great receiver, great cornerback, great returner. He's number 2. Ashton Genty, that running back out of Boise State, really, really special. He was up for the Heisman, probably pretty close to being the guy who should have maybe deserved it, as I would say, just because of the numbers he put up. I mean, he was up there with Barry Sanders and some of the greatest running backs ever, some of the numbers that he put up. So he's pretty impressive. There's a linebacker out of Georgia, Walker, who's phenomenal, John. There's a defensive lineman out of Michigan, Graham. You and I probably watch enough football that we know who he is, but most people wouldn't. He's a defensive tackle. How many people know the names of defensive tackles in the league or in college? But I'll tell you what, John, he's a big, strong son of a gun with a good mean side to him as well. And then there's that tight end from Penn State, Tyler Warren. He's pretty special. This guy's a fullback. He's a wide receiver. He's a tight end. He's only 6'6", about 265, John. Runs very, very pretty smooth at about a 4.5 40 type guy. He has everything that you'd ever want. So if you're looking for talent, those are the players that we're going to be seeing. Do you got anybody that you're kind of curious about in the first round, or who might jump in there with the rest of those names?
Well, not as much as you, Pete, but what I do is I went and took a look at how many trades you normally have in the first round. Mm-hmm. And I asked Pete already, folks, and he was damn close to the number. It turns out we're pretty close to 5 or 6 trades in that first round. That'll change a lot because if indeed we do see 5 trades, there's what, Pete, 31 or 32 picks?
32, yeah.
32 picks. So 5 or 6 changes things by a lot. And thus far, nobody has talked about trades, which means that if we're going to be anywhere near the average, and the highest, by the way, was just a couple years back, was 9 trades in the first round. Because if you don't have the player that you want, you might trade down, give somebody else the spot, and see if you can get more picks. Yeah. Conversely, if you want to trade up to get the guy that you really want that really fits your system, I think we're going to see probably, I'm going to say, Pete, that we're not going to get to the averages. I think we'll be under that, but I think we'll probably see 3 or 4 trades in the first round tonight. And other than that, Pete, I just wanted to throw out a little bit more of a shout to Mongo McMichael. Yep. He passed away yesterday, and great guy. 2-time All-Pro, played in a franchise record 191 consecutive games. Imagine that, folks. 191 consecutive games. And there were some Iron Men that were with the Bears. So that's a very, very impressive number. Second all-time sack getter in Bears history with 92 and a half sacks. That's a career and a half. And unfortunately died of ALS. And he had to accept his gold jacket, Pete, from the bed because he couldn't get to Canton. But a great guy. We will miss him.
Yeah, very well missed and very well documented, this whole thing with the terrible disease. ALS is just as bad as it gets, right? And the guy, just a special player, part of some of the greatest defenses ever put on the football field out there under Ditka and all that, and just amazing. So yeah, it's a sad day, but it's probably some relief to some degree with the family and everything else. 67 years old. How about free agency, John? That could change a lot about what you just were talking about in terms of trades. So I'm going to say that we actually might even get a little higher. Maybe we get up towards 5 or 6 trades. Maybe it's 6. And the reason I say that is this. Here's who's still left of the big names, I think, for professional football. Aaron Rodgers, he's still there. 41 years old, hasn't signed with anybody yet. What if he all of a sudden signs with Pittsburgh, and now all of a sudden they all will change who they might be drafting, right? And then it turns into this whole thing where it churns up the entire draft because of that. Another one, Keenan Allen, wide receiver, 32 years old. He's a good one. Von Miller, who you and I know modestly, pretty interesting. 36 years old, though. He's starting to show some of that age as well, John. So I think I'm a little bit concerned from that perspective. Deontay Johnson, another wide receiver. Amari Cooper, another wide receiver. Those could change. If they get signed today, that could change who people are going to be drafting, right? And the one thing that stands out for me, John, and I keep saying it and I'll keep saying it, wide receivers are a dime a dozen, as proven by these guys who are big name receivers. They've been around for a while and they want to get into the free agency spot and they haven't signed yet. Why is that? I think it's because there's so damn many wide receivers already out there. So if you're in this draft and you're looking to trade, don't trade up for wide receivers. You're trading up to get somebody else. Maybe it's a great running back, offensive lineman, defensive lineman, edge rusher, quarterback, whatever it is. But I think that will produce even more trades if we see any of these guys go, especially somebody like Aaron Rodgers, because that could really change a lot about quarterbacks and who somebody might draft. Because if Aaron Rodgers comes back again for this year, he might even be there for 2 years. Who knows? And then you could wait till next year to make your draft pick in terms of a quarterback. So it could be really, really interesting. And I think those are the players that could influence what you were talking about, which is how many trades we could get in the first round this year.
Well, Pete, when we do hear about trades, Pittsburgh has been pretty vocal about willingness to trade down if their defensive picks are not available. Now, I think all of us kind of know Pittsburgh as a defensive-minded team. They've had great receivers like John Stallworth and Lynn Swann and things, but that's decades ago, folks. They are a defensive-minded team. A.J. Watt's, J.J. Watt's brother, A.J. is one of the best there is in pass rushing and so forth right now, and run stopping. But they are a blue collar team. They want the big stud defenders. And if they're not available, they will trade down, Pete. So that's one of the teams. And for what you said too, Pete, depending where quarterbacks go, Aaron could either decide he's retiring or finally pull the ripcord and parachute into Pittsburgh. But so far he has not. And I'm sure that's frustrating for Pittsburgh.
Yeah, absolutely.